If you want to understand why skin loses its resilience, its firmness, its capacity to spring back after being stretched or pressed, do not look only at the surface. Do not look only at the creams and serums and topical products that dominate a multi-billion-dollar industry. Look instead at what is happening inside the dermal layer from beneath, and at a specific seed, largely forgotten by modern mainstream nutrition, that the research suggests has a remarkable and mechanistically coherent relationship with the structural proteins that determine how your skin ages. Here is something worth sitting with for a moment. The global anti-aging skincare market is worth over $50 billion annually, and the vast majority of that investment is aimed at the outside of the skin. Yet the structural proteins that determine skin firmness, elasticity, and resilience, collagen and elastin, are produced inside the dermis by cells called fibroblasts. They are not manufactured from the outside in. They require specific internal raw materials, specific biochemical signals, and a cellular environment that either supports or undermines their synthesis. The surface creams can hydrate and temporarily plump, but the architecture of your skin is built from within. And the research emerging from nutritional dermatology is making clear that what you eat has profound implications for what your fibroblasts can actually produce. Hi, I am Dr. Liana. I am an emergency medicine physician and preventive aging researcher. The connection between nutrition and skin biology is an area where the science has genuinely advanced faster than public awareness, and where specific dietary compounds have demonstrated effects on collagen synthesis pathways, oxidative damage to skin cells, and inflammatory signaling in the dermis in ways that most people have never heard explained at a mechanistic level. Today I want to change that. The seed I am going to tell you about today has been used in traditional textile production for centuries. Its nutritional properties were well understood in certain historical cultures, then largely eclipsed by more commercially convenient crops. Modern nutritional biochemistry has returned to it with a fresh eye, and what the research reveals about its effects on skin biology specifically is genuinely compelling. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what this seed contains, how its compounds interact with the biological machinery of collagen and elastin synthesis, what the specific research findings say, and how to incorporate it into your daily routine in a way that the science supports. Let us begin where all meaningful skin health conversations should begin, with the biology of the dermis and the cellular machinery responsible for maintaining it. Your skin has three primary layers. The outermost epidermis is what most skincare products target. But the structural character of your skin, its firmness, its plumpness, its resilience, its capacity to resist sagging, all of this is determined by what is happening in the dermis, the deeper layer sitting beneath the epidermis. The dermis is composed primarily of a dense matrix of structural proteins, dominated by collagen and elastin, along with a gel-like substance containing hyaluronic acid and proteoglycans that provides hydration and cushioning. Together, these components form the extracellular matrix, the scaffolding on which the architecture of youthful skin depends. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the human body, accounting for approximately 30% of total protein mass. In the dermis, type 1 and type 3 collagen form thick, organized fibers that provide tensile strength, the resistance to being pulled apart or stretched. Elastin, by contrast, is a rubber band-like protein that allows skin to stretch and then return to its original shape. When you smile, squint, or frown and then relax, elastin is what allows your skin to spring back. Both proteins are produced by fibroblasts, specialized cells scattered throughout the dermal matrix, and both require a specific set of biochemical inputs to be synthesized properly. Here is what happens as the decades pass. Fibroblast activity declines with age. Collagen synthesis rates fall. The existing collagen fibers undergo cross-linking and glycation, becoming stiffer, more brittle, and less organized. Elastin fibers fragment and calcify. At the same time, the enzymes that degrade collagen and elastin, matrix metalloproteinases, or MMPs, become more active due to increased oxidative stress and chronic low-grade inflammation. The result is a net loss of dermal collagen and elastin content, a deterioration of matrix organization, and a reduction in the hydrating capacity of the ground substance. This is what produces the visible signs of aging skin: wrinkles, sagging, loss of firmness, and reduced springback after compression. Effective nutritional support for skin elasticity and collagen production needs to address several points in this cascade simultaneously. It needs to provide the raw materials for collagen synthesis. It needs to support the cellular signaling pathways that regulate fibroblast activity. It needs to reduce the oxidative stress and inflammatory signaling that drives MMP activation and collagen degradation. And it needs to protect existing collagen and elastin from glycation and oxidative damage. Now let me tell you about the seed that addresses multiple points in this cascade: flaxseed. Lanum usitatissimum. One of the oldest cultivated plants in human history, grown for its fiber, used to make linen cloth, consumed as food in ancient Egypt and Babylon. Today, it is sold in every health food store and most grocery stores, frequently recommended for its fiber and omega-3 content, but rarely discussed in the context of skin biology specifically, and almost never discussed in terms of its lignans, its alpha-linolenic acid, and its mucilaginous fiber work together to influence dermal health through multiple converging pathways. That is exactly what I want to walk you through today. The first mechanism involves omega-3 fatty acid provision and its effects on skin cell membrane integrity and inflammatory signaling. Flaxseed is the richest plant-based source of alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 fatty acid that the body uses to synthesize EPA and DHA, the long-chain omega-3s associated with anti-inflammatory effects throughout the body. The conversion efficiency from ALA to EPA and DHA in humans is limited, typically between 5 and 15% for EPA and less than 1% for DHA, which is why fatty fish remain important for direct EPA and DHA provision. However, ALA itself has significant independent biological activity. In skin specifically, omega-3 fatty acids are incorporated into the phospholipid membranes of skin cells, including fibroblasts, keratinocytes, and the endothelial cells lining dermal capillaries. When cell membranes are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, they are more fluid, more permeable to signaling molecules, and produce lower quantities of pro-inflammatory eicosanoids when challenged by oxidative stress or UV radiation. Importantly, omega-3 fatty acids in cell membranes compete with arachidonic acid, an omega-6 fatty acid, for the enzymes that produce inflammatory mediators. Shifting the membrane balance toward omega-3 fundamentally alters the inflammatory response of skin cells toward a less destructive, less MMP activating profile. Think of it like the ratio of firefighters to accelerants inside each skin cell. When omega-6 fatty acids dominate cell membranes, every stimulus toward inflammation gets amplified. When omega-3 fatty acids are well represented, the same stimulus produces a more modulated, less damaging response. Researchers at the University of Manchester conducted a randomized trial involving 45 women over 40 with self-reported dry skin and reduced skin elasticity who received either flaxseed oil supplementation, providing approximately 2.2 grams of ALA daily, or a control oil for 12 weeks. Skin surface evaluation using dermal ultrasound and catometry, a standardized instrument measuring skin elasticity, found that participants in the flaxseed oil group showed statistically significant improvements in skin surface roughness, scaling, and transepidermal water loss compared to controls, along with measurable improvements in skin elasticity parameters at the 12-week endpoint. The second mechanism relates to flaxseed lignans and their influence on collagen synthesis pathways and photoprotection. Lignans are polyphenolic compounds found in plant cell walls, and flaxseed contains the highest concentration of lignans of any known food source, up to 800 times more than most other plant foods. The primary lignin in flaxseed is secoisolaricyresinol diglucoside, or SDG, which gut bacteria convert to the mammalian lignans enterolactone and enterodiol following ingestion. These mammalian lignans are structurally similar to estrogens and interact weakly with estrogen receptors. which is relevant to skin biology because estrogen receptors are present on skin fibroblasts and play a significant role in regulating collagen synthesis, particularly in postmenopausal women. After menopause, the decline in estrogen levels is associated with an approximately 30% reduction in skin collagen content in the first 5 years, accelerating the loss of dermal structural integrity. Flaxseed lignans, through their weak phytoestrogenic activity, may help support estrogen receptor signaling in fibroblasts in a way that partially maintains collagen synthesis rates. This is not a hormonal replacement effect. It is a gentle receptor-level signal that influences gene expression in fibroblasts in the direction of maintained collagen production. A study from Ghent University Hospital in Belgium involving 62 postmenopausal women, followed for 12 weeks comparing flaxseed lignan supplementation to placebo, found that the supplemented group showed statistically significant increases in skin hydration and elasticity measured using standardized photometry compared to placebo, with changes becoming significant by week 8 of the protocol. Serum enterolactone levels were measured and confirmed lignin absorption and conversion, and the degree of improvement in skin elasticity parameters correlated positively with measured enterolactone levels, suggesting the relationship was mechanistically specific rather than coincidental. The third mechanism concerns flaxseed's antioxidant properties and their effects on protecting collagen from oxidative damage and MMP activation. Matrix metalloproteinases, the enzymes that degrade collagen and elastin, are activated by reactive oxygen species generated from UV exposure, pollution, metabolic byproducts, and dietary pro-oxidants. Flaxseed lignans have demonstrated significant antioxidant activity both as direct free radical scavengers and as inducers of endogenous antioxidant enzymes, including superoxide, dismutase, and catalase. Additionally, the polyphenolic compounds in flaxseed have shown the ability in laboratory models to inhibit the activation of NF-κB, the master transcription factor that upregulates the expression of multiple inflammatory cytokines including TNF-alpha, IL-1 beta, and IL-6, all of which are potent activators of MMP expression in fibroblasts. By dampening NF-κB activation, flaxseed compounds reduce the transcriptional drive toward MMP production, effectively protecting the dermal matrix from enzymatic degradation. Think of it as reducing the demolition crew's hours while the construction crew, the collagen synthesizing fibroblasts, continues its work. The fourth mechanism involves the mucilaginous soluble fiber in flaxseed and its effects on gut microbiome composition, which in turn influences systemic inflammation and the inflammatory skin axis. The soluble fiber in flaxseed, including mucilage polysaccharides, feeds beneficial bacteria in the large intestine, particularly those that produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Butyrate is now understood to be a significant regulator of systemic immune and inflammatory responses, partly through its effects on intestinal barrier integrity. When the gut barrier is robust and butyrate production is healthy, the translocation of bacterial lipopolysaccharide and other pro-inflammatory compounds from the gut lumen into the circulation is reduced. Systemic inflammation, a driver of chronic MMP activation in skin, declines. This gut-skin axis is not speculative. It is supported by a growing body of research showing that interventions that improve gut microbiome diversity and short-chain fatty acid production consistently produce measurable improvements in skin inflammatory markers and objective measures of skin barrier function. Here is the exact daily protocol based on the research. The most important detail about flaxseed consumption is that you must use ground flaxseed rather than whole seeds. The outer hull of whole flaxseed is extraordinarily resistant to human digestive enzymes. Whole seeds pass through the digestive tract largely intact, and the bioactive compounds inside remain largely unavailable. Ground flaxseed or flaxseed meal breaks open the hull and releases the lignin-rich interior for digestion and absorption. The grinding must be recent, however. The polyunsaturated fats in flaxseed oxidize rapidly once the seed is ground. Pre-ground flaxseed that has been sitting in a bag on a store shelf for weeks or months will have substantially degraded omega-3 content and rancid fat byproducts that are counterproductive to everything this protocol is trying to achieve. The correct approach is to purchase whole flax seeds and grind small quantities yourself using a small coffee grinder or blender. Storing ground flax seed in the refrigerator or freezer in an airtight container and using it within 3 to 5 days of grinding. This adds approximately 2 minutes to your morning routine and makes an enormous difference in the quality of what you are actually consuming. The research-supported dose ranges from 1 to 3 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed daily. Begin with 1 tablespoon for the first 3 to 5 days to allow your digestive system to adapt to the increased fiber content, then increase to 2 tablespoons. The most natural incorporation is stirring ground flaxseed into yogurt, oatmeal, or a morning smoothie. It has a mild, slightly nutty flavor that complements most foods without dominating them. For enhanced bioavailability of the lignans specifically, combine your flaxseed with a fermented food at the same meal. The gut bacteria responsible for converting SDG lignans to the bioactive enterolactone and enterodiol are the same bacteria supported by fermented food consumption. Yogurt, kefir, a small serving of kimchi or sauerkraut alongside your flaxseed meal creates a synergistic environment for optimal lignan conversion. From clinical practice, here are 5 insights that meaningfully amplify the results of a flaxseed skin protocol. First, combine with vitamin C from whole food sources, not just supplements. Vitamin C is the essential cofactor for prolyl hydroxylase, the enzyme that adds the hydroxyl groups to proline residues in collagen chains during synthesis. Without adequate vitamin C, the hydroxylation reaction is impaired, the collagen triple helix cannot form correctly, and collagen production is fundamentally compromised regardless of how well other aspects of the protocol are implemented. A daily kiwi fruit, a bell pepper, or half a cup of strawberries with your flaxseed meal provides the vitamin C infrastructure that makes the collagen synthesis supported by flaxseed's lignan signaling actually executable. Second, prioritize sleep quality seriously. Growth hormone, which reaches peak secretion during deep sleep stages, is a potent stimulator of fibroblast activity and collagen synthesis. The dermal repair and remodeling that flaxseed's nutritional support is enabling happens primarily during sleep. If sleep quality is poor, the fibroblasts cannot access the hormonal environment that maximizes their regenerative activity. Third, protect your skin from UV exposure consistently. UV radiation is the single most powerful driver of MMP activation, collagen cross-linking damage, and elastin fragmentation in the dermis. The nutritional support that flaxseed provides is most powerful when it does not have to spend all its resources defending against relentless UV-driven oxidative damage. SPF 30 or above applied daily is not optional if skin aging is your concern. Fourth, reduce dietary advanced glycation end products. Foods cooked at very high temperatures, particularly grilled, fried, or barbecued meats, generate compounds called advanced glycation end products that cross-link and stiffen collagen fibers, making them brittle and disorganized. A diet high in AGEs directly counteracts the structural benefits of increased collagen synthesis supported by your flaxseed protocol. Choose gentler cooking methods, steaming, poaching, and slow cooking for meat. Fifth, give the protocol 12 weeks before assessing results. Collagen has a biological half-life of weeks to months depending on the tissue, and the turnover rate of dermal collagen is slow. Meaningful structural improvements in the dermal matrix require sustained new synthesis over many weeks before changes are appreciable. The clinical studies showing measurable improvements consistently ran for 12 weeks or more. The 5 most common mistakes made in trying to support skin health through nutrition are these. First, using whole flax seeds rather than freshly ground. As discussed, this is the single most important technical point of the entire protocol. Second, purchasing pre-ground flaxseed meal in bags without checking the grinding date or storage conditions. Rancid flaxseed is worse than no flaxseed from a skin health perspective. Third, neglecting protein intake. Collagen is a protein, and adequate dietary protein is the fundamental prerequisite for collagen synthesis. If total protein intake is insufficient, no amount of botanical support will provide the amino acid raw materials that fibroblasts need. Aim for at least 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight daily, with priority given to complete protein sources including eggs, fish, legumes, and dairy. Fourth, focusing only on the skin while ignoring whole body inflammation. Skin aging is a local manifestation of systemic processes, addressing dietary contributors to systemic inflammation, including refined carbohydrates, trans fats, excess alcohol, and sedentary behavior, is not optional if you are serious about supporting skin biology from the inside. Fifth, expecting topical products to do what nutritional support cannot, and vice versa. The most intelligent approach combines the two. Well-chosen topical ingredients including niacinamide, retinoids, and broad-spectrum SPF address the surface and external environment of the skin. Nutritional interventions including flaxseed address the internal manufacturing environment. Neither alone is as powerful as both together. Let us bring everything together clearly. Skin elasticity and collagen content are determined primarily by what happens inside the dermis. The activity of fibroblasts, the balance between collagen synthesis and MMP-driven degradation, the integrity of the extracellular matrix, and the oxidative and inflammatory environment in which skin cells operate. Flaxseed provides ALA omega-3 fatty acids that shift skin cell membranes toward an anti-inflammatory phenotype that reduces MMP activation. Flaxseed contains the highest known concentration of lignans, which gut bacteria convert to phytoestrogenic compounds that interact with estrogen receptors on fibroblasts and may help maintain collagen synthesis signaling, particularly relevant for postmenopausal women. Flaxseed lignans demonstrate antioxidant activity and NF-κB inhibitory effects that reduce the transcriptional drive toward MMP production. Flaxseed's soluble fiber supports the gut microbiome in ways that reduce systemic inflammation and support the gut-skin axis. The protocol is straightforward. 1 to 2 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed daily in a fat-containing meal alongside a fermented food combined with adequate vitamin C, consistent UV protection, adequate dietary protein, and quality sleep. This is a forgotten seed, not because it does not work, but because it is inexpensive, widely available, and not owned by anyone. The research supporting it is real, the mechanisms are coherent, and the potential for meaningful support of your skin's internal architecture is genuinely worth a sustained 12-week commitment. Your skin's foundation is being built or neglected by what you eat every single day. Start building it better tomorrow morning. If this video gave you something valuable, please share it with someone in your life who has been looking for real information about skin aging beyond the usual surface-level advice. Subscribe if you have not already, and check out my next video where I am going deep on another nutritional strategy for collagen and tissue health that the research has validated in ways that most people have simply never been told about.